Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. This question came in from Jan Gourlay, and Jan says, "Good morning, Serge. Here is one to get you thinking. I have successfully adapted your swing and it is marvelous. On the range, that is. As soon as I cross the road to the first tee box, everything goes south and I start swinging like a 25 handicapper. Again, I understand the game of golf and the logistics of the swing, and I know after I swing what went wrong, but in the act I am pitiful. It really gets irritating, and I spend 4 to 6 hours a day on the range, so I am pretty pumped when I leave for the first tee box, but to no avail. Any suggestions? Frustrated in Flin-Flon. Oh yeah, I'm a lefty. Okay, whatever Flin-Flon means. So, we got a case here of Jan spends, as he says, 4 to 6 hours on the range before he goes out. Well, I think if you're hitting balls for 4 to 6 hours, you better be in pretty darn good shape, because after 4 to 6 hours on the range, to then go to the tee and not be a little bit tired is one issue. But assuming you're not, and being in great shape, I'm going to say that we got the, I'm going to say part of the problem is that, and please take this the way it's meant to be, you're a range player. You're spending too much time on the range. So when you get out there after 4 to 6 hours, in many cases your brain is probably already shot. Especially if you've been working really hard on your golf swing. And so I think one issue would be that I'd start cutting down the range time. Just go there, loosen up, and go play. All right. But when you are on the range, I think it's important that what you need to do is you need to take you get the mechanics out of your brain. And I know you got the mechanics because you say that you know the logistics of the swing. Get the mechanics out and get the feel. And what's the biggest thing I always say about taking practice swings? So the first thing I would say is when you're on the range, take a practice swing before every hit. And what do I say? I get in the perfect posture for the shot I want to hit. And the swing I want that posture to create, the setup. And then I take that swing, and I swing all the way to my finish, and I feel it, even to a point of a recoil and relax. And if that's what I like, I say, that's it. That's the feel I want to hit the shot I want to hit. And then I step up, and what do? I swing the feel. I don't get into mechanics. I swing the feel. So I feel the swing in the practice swing, and I swing the feel. I make it an absolute must that any time on a practice range, if you hit a bad shot, you never, ever get a ball until you've made a good practice swing and get the feeling you want. I can't tell you how many times I've seen ball beaters on a practice range hit a ball, they stand here, they hit a shot, it's a bad shot, that ball is still flying in the air and they're already rolling over another ball. So first off, they didn't even look long enough to see what the ball did. They just didn't like the impact or whatever, or the sound of it, and it's automatically X'd out and they're already rolling a ball over. Absolutely, positively not. You should watch every shot, because even some bad shots have some pretty good things. Say you thinned it, or you maybe even semi-chubbed it a little bit or whatever, but the ball started exactly where you wanted and stayed there. Or it stayed pretty darn close. At least you know that was a relatively good swing. There was good components to it. All right, so you need to watch every shot. But if you didn't hit it the way you want, stand here right now, take an oath, I will never hit another ball on the practice range without taking a good practice swing. And because I want to do what? I want to feel the swing. I got to feel the setup first, get in the right setup. Then I want to, from that setup, I want to feel the swing. And if that's a swing, then you step up and you swing the feel. All right? And if you like taking practice swings on a golf course, I think it's the same thing. Unless you make a good practice swing, you don't step up and hit the golf ball. To stand here and make a practice swing is terrible. And not a good one is absolutely terrible. It's absolutely a sin to step up and try to hit a golf ball. Because what are you going to use for the feeling if you just made a lousy practice swing, especially on a golf course? The chances of making a much better swing are very diminished. So we got to get in our brains the feeling of what good setup and a good swing is, and then we swing the feel. We take the mechanics out when we get to the golf course. So that's the first part of this issue, I think. I would say stop practicing less, going after feel, and swinging. Get that feeling of the swing, then swing the feel. And that's what every club there is. The second big issue that I see in all the golf lessons I give and all the golf swings I do, especially in these performance golf schools that we do where we have golf instruction in the morning and then we go play 9 holes with the folks in the afternoon. And I have many of my students that I teach, I play golf with them afterwards or whatever. But I've seen this where a person standing on a driver range, and as I said, in all the years we've been doing schools, only one student ever had good alignment on the range and had it when we went out and played the 9 holes. All right, all the way, 1. So every other golf school we've had 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 forever and ever, zeros and zeros of nobody being lined up correctly. But I'm going to make you a promise. If you're into alignment and you go on a range and say you should practice with sticks or arrows on the ground or whatever, but every now and then you got to get rid of those crutches and you got to stand here and hit us for shots. And every now and then you should walk. You should set up, put the club down by your toes before you hit. Come back here and check it out. Now, right now, this club is aimed a little bit to the right of the camera. So if my target was the camera, you stand here and draw a parallel line out from there. I've now aimed 15, 20 yards right of the flag. I'm aiming right. All right? Now I'm going to make you a promise. And I prove this time and time again to golfers. If you line up incorrectly on the range, which also means when you're hitting those let me backtrack 1 second. In those 4 to 6 hours, I want you to have a target on every shot. You should be hitting at a target. It's not just standing there and hitting good shots out there. Well, if you lined up one time like this and you fire one right out there and the swing felt good and the ball's going to say, oh, that's great. And then the next time you walk in like this and you're way left of it and you fire one out there and you're not paying any attention to a target, you could be hitting a lot of good shots. But technically, anytime you hit a golf ball, practicing or whatever, and especially on a course, you have to be target oriented, especially on a driver range too. All right, you have to have a target. Because that's the only thing. Did that swing that you just made start the ball where you want it to start and finish where you wanted it to finish? All right. And in most cases, we're just hitting regular shots, normal shots. We want it to be relatively straight, so it's parallel left. All right. So getting back to this final point I'm making about the range and taking it to the golf course. If you have a tendency on the driving range to aim to the right or the left, whatever, and it is fairly consistently that you aim the same way all the time, I'm going to make you a promise without a doubt. And you can go on the range, put the clubs down and check it out. And then check it out on the golf course. Whatever you do on the range will be maximized on the golf course. If you have a tendency to aim 10 yards to 20 yards to the right on the range, your 10 and 20 on the range will be 20 to 40 or 60 on the golf course. I've actually seen players out there stand there, and if you can imagine this, the fairway's right down where the camera is. They walk in here like this, and these guys are aimed so far right, the target is over their shoulder, which means they're standing here and they're aimed 120 yards to the right when they get on the golf course. If I stood in there and hit the ball would never even, the ball would be going straight into the woods to the right of the tee. I've had guys that far right, right-handers that is. Okay, so that could be another big issue. You could leave the range hitting the ball good, but get on the golf course, and because we're not on our range, we're on a fairway, so we go from a baseball field to a bowling alley, and if you're lined up in the gutters, guess where your ball's going? They're going in the gutters, okay? And so alignment could be a critical issue there. So, just to recap, let's get targets on the range, make a practice swing, preferably before every shot, feel the swing, then set up and swing the feel. Take that to the golf course. Target oriented, make sure your alignment's correct, make a good practice swing, feel what you want. That's it. Step up and swing that feel. All right? And I would think that in the end, 4 to 6 hours practicing before going and playing is possibly too long. Cut it short, go play. If things aren't good, then come back to the range and spend some more time there.